that lead us to our other neighbor, Mars. This is a high-resolution image of Mars taken from orbit. You can see here the polar caps of Mars. You can see the red surface. Mars does not have that many clouds, so you can actually see the surface. But this is how Mars probably looked to the telescopes of the 19th century. And this view of Mars, where you do not see much detail, fueled a lot of speculation of what the surface would actually look like. This is a map of Mars drawn in the late 19th century by the astronomer Schiaparelli. And he described these lines here. He thought that he was seeing these lines that he called channels. This was translated into English as canals. And that fueled the imagination of an astronomer in the US, a very famous astronomer, Percival Lowell, that these were artificial canals built by an intelligent civilization on Mars. He imagined that these were canals that were connecting regions of Mars, were pockets of civilization. And then he grew wild with imagination. He thought that these were irrigation canals to get water from the polar caps that would melt seasonally and then bring water to cities on the equator. This is a map of Mars showing these imaginary canals that were published in a newspaper. That's an actual newspaper published on October 27, 1898. This idea took hold in the imaginary of the population of the time. And the idea of a civilization on Mars became a trope of literature, of cinema. That's where we got the idea of uninhabited Mars, of little green men. It appeared almost immediately in literature. H.G. Wells with The War of the Worlds, A Princess on Mars with the character John Carter was made into a movie actually in 2012 to celebrate the 100 years of the character John Carter, which is a human that is transported to Mars, and then in Mars he has superpowers basically because Earth is bigger than Mars, Mars has a lower gravity, so it was imagined that a human on Mars would jump high, would have superpowers, would essentially be like Superman. And that's a trope that is with us up to this day of the Martian. Again, reality is, of course, much different. Even in Lowell's time, we already had evidence that Mars was much colder. They were trying to look for signs of water on Mars, on the atmosphere. They found none. The astronomers, even back then, were skeptic of that idea. But we are now completely sure. We landed on Mars. We sent probes to Mars. This is an image of the surface of Mars taken by the Viking probe that landed on Mars in 1974. Mars is a place, and we have been there. Now we have enough telescopic evidence and spacecraft photos of the worlds in our solar system to be very confident that no civilization has ever existed in any of them. Yet scientific interest in extraterrestrial life has exploded in the past decades. So what has happened?